Okay, go ahead and recap what you were just saying.
Basically, what I was telling Parks was this reminded me, this whole little setup reminded me of the alpha male dating coach, and it also reminded me that since that video, the Raiders have not won a game. They're on a 9-game losing streak. Haven't won a game since September against the trash Deshaun Watson led Cleveland Browns, if you can believe that. And historically, this is one of the worst Raiders teams of all time.
And how does that make you feel?
We can only go up from here, baby. No, it's really not bad because, like, I think about, like, I don't know, hindsight's 20/20, but, like, from where we are right now, like, we have a head coach who I really like. He's, like, not, like, there's head coaches who are, like, super good, like, X's and O's guys who are, like, oh, yeah, going to drop all these great plays and maybe have a great offense or whatever. But he's, like, very much like a leader of men where it's, like, we, like, suck. We're, like, 2-9, but, like, every single game you can tell that, like, because once you it's kind of like a snowball where if a team really sucks, like, they're going to be like, yeah, dude, we suck. So every game they're going to go out there and be like, all right, bro, I'm just playing so I can get my check. And, like, they don't care. They stop caring. But, like, you can tell with this team, they still kind of care, right? And like, every game, Antonio Pierce is kind of getting them out there and, hyping them boys up, get them out there, even if they're playing terrible football. And I'm proud of them. Max Crosby, Aiden O'Connell, Jacoby Myers, if you guys are watching this, I'm proud of you guys. And I know it means a lot coming from me, but I am, man. I'm proud of you guys. And
so, what keeps you coming back as a Raiders fan? Like, what gets you interested in the first place, and then what keeps you coming back?
So, what got me interested in the first place was there was a cornerback named, very, very first place, right? Madden Mobile, flashback, probably 2015, right? You have to select your team, and whatever team you select, you get their jerseys. That's why you're selecting a team. And I was like, ooh, let me be the Raiders, right? I think I had just now watched Straight Outta Compton. They had a bunch of Raiders, like, gear on in there, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's, like, a cool-looking team, all black, okay. And then I think I watched a couple Raiders game, and I saw, like, Derek Carr. I saw Khalil Mack. These two, really young quarterback, young defensive end, really good players. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. They're going to have these, like, great players for, like, years. And I was, like, just now getting into football. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, this team's, like, kind of on the rise. It's a kind of underdog team that you could root for. They're only going to go up from here. And they made the playoffs in 2016, but Derek Carr broke his leg before then. And we lost in the playoffs. And then I was like, well, that's fine. This was a great team. We had a really good team. So we're just going to, like, next year it's just going to roll over. And we're going to get even better. And we just got worse. And the next season we got worse. And then the next season we got a little bit better. And then the next season we got a little bit better. And then we made the playoffs. 2021 season made the playoffs. That's a whole nother. I could, like, make a whole mini series about the 2021 team. One of our players killed somebody. One of our players threatened to kill somebody on Instagram Live. Our head coach, turns out he was racist and sexist. But, I mean, one look at John Gruden, you could probably assume that.
Yeah, and then not only that, but just very recently there was the thing where John Gruden, he's talking with a female fan. She's giving a shout out Raiders. Raiders are the best team ever. And John Gruden has his shirt inside out.
And they're like the whole time
they're hugging up.
Hugging.
Yeah.
And, like, what is the point of that video even? She's just like, yeah, Raiders are great. The Raiders are awesome. And he's just like,
well, and she's like, and they're led by a great coach. I think she said something like that. So, Raiders in shambles.
Nah, if anything, that video has restored life to Raider Nation. Get him, coach.
It's very on brand. I don't know anything about football. I don't know. Like, it kind of, like, okay, have you ever heard of the sunken cost fallacy?
Yeah. Okay, what is your point with that?
Well, what does that mean to you, like, sunken cost fallacy?
Just that, well, like, are you, like, asking me to define it, or, like, asking me to
just
define
like,
it? Okay.
What?
Well, like, it's like whenever you continue to lose money to like hopefully regain this lost money that you already had.
Yeah, it's like you're at the casino, you're down $600.
And you're like, oh, okay, I know I can get my $600 back.
You're like, well, if I walk away now, I'll for sure lose $600. So I need to reinvest with the hope that I'll get it back. And yeah, I don't know why that popped into my head. But okay, but anyways, I really didn't expect us to be talking about
5-minute Raider rant. I love it, man.
It's
I could go all day.
It's like the Red Pill dating coach skit, but in real life. Which, by the way, God, if you guys watched that skit, I'm sure you really enjoyed it. But the fact that there was like a black screen in the middle of it just for no reason, sorry about that. That's very unprofessional. But anyways, so no, today I wanted to talk about our recent show at SHSU Live. That was very fun. So you want to like recap real quick, like how we even just how that went?
Yeah. So we saw a post by SHSU Live, this kind of student organization. We weren't really that familiar with them, but we knew they had kind of put on a couple of shows earlier in the semester. They wanted bands for this end of the year show, and we messaged them, kind of linked up, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna go to Mario's bar. We're gonna play at Mario's bar this date. Blah blah blah. Gave us all the information. And like I pull up there, and like I knew it was a student organization, but I didn't realize it was legit. Just like I don't know what I was expecting, but like we pull up and it's just a bunch of college students, and they're just kind of it's kind of just like a little party, little hangout, and like it was awesome. The whole like kind of environment and like they like accrued was
it was cool. There was a little turf green, and then like a little mini stage, pop-up stage that we played on, which the cool thing about that stage is it was kind of light. So like in the video, so I taped a 360 camera onto my mic stand, and it made for some really good footage. But what was really cool about that footage was like as we're playing, the mic stand is like just rocking ever so slightly because it's so loud and so much.
I like that a lot, and the same thing with like the 12th Street show. Whenever I had my like little Canon DV tape camera over like in the back corner, and it was like right next to the drum, so like every boom kick drum, it was like shaking, and it was kind of added.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Like that's stuff that you never really intend for, and then but also I think that that's just kind of an aspect of our band, like something that we are constantly getting. Well, first it was from Dad, where he said like, "It's too loud. It's too loud." Going in here and telling, turn it down, it's too loud. But now, whenever we have shows, we always get compliments. One compliment that we get pretty regularly is people will say, "Man, I didn't know two guys can make all that noise." Or somebody told us, "Man, for two guys, you guys have such a huge sound." Yeah. And that's cool because personally, that's kind of like almost what I want to go for. Right. We're pretty minimalistic with our setup, but I try to like I would say me and you tend to ascribe to the maximalist like school of design. Oh, yeah. Just filling that's something like we would always talk about that.
Well, because I think you can get more out of less, because like if I had all these other pedals, if I had if we had like 3 other dudes in our band, then it's like we could create some pretty cool sounds, and in theory it sounds like you're going to be able to create a better sound or a more unique sound. But, like, in reality, like, we're able to practice so much. We're able to, like...
Yeah, because there's a lot fewer constraints. Right. And even as I was loading up the drums today to come practice, I was telling Maddie, I was like, man, this sucks about being a drummer, is, like, loading all the gear into the car after, like, before and after every practice and show. But, like... I got a very minimalistic setup, like super minimalist. So it's like, in video games, there's this whole concept of like min-maxing, and like I don't play video games now, but whenever I did, I was all about like I would design a character so meticulously before I would start playing, because I would always want to like get the most out of my playthrough. That's just how I am. I like strategy and like I'm very analytically minded, and so I would be like, all right, what's the least amount of stats I could put into this character in what sequence that's going to get like the craziest ROI. And they call it min-maxing. I didn't even know that until years later, but I was just like I've always naturally gravitated toward that, like in anything. I kind of do it like even in business, like just like with Gore Brothers Media, I kind of shoot stuff and then outsource the editing, but like I do the sales myself, I do the marketing myself, I do pretty much everything except the.
Well, it's like as far as like the band goes, it's like whenever we're trying to write a song, we gotta write 2 parts. We just take care of our parts, and that's it. Or if we want to change something in a song, hey, do this on this part. I don't have to tell parts, and I don't have to tell the rhythm guitarist, and I don't have to tell the lead guitarist, and then the singer or whatever. It's just like, hey, you do this, okay, I'm gonna do this. All right, cool. And then another thing was like, so as far as pedals go, and I don't know, I guess this could be applied to anything really, but like I had like chorus, fuzz, overdrive, distortion, reverb, and at like some points I was like, bro, I'm just gonna like kick all of those on, and it's gonna make this massive crazy sound. But what it makes is just like a sound where you can't hear your notes, and then it's like it's just mud city, and it's like it sounds a lot cooler and a lot more massive when you do just the fuzz and you just crank it. The more
variables you add into it, the more you have to pay attention to stuff like sequence. So obviously having a reverb before a fuzz is going to be a little bit different than vice versa. Yeah. And just those little, like the little changes in sequence have a massive effect on like how everything downstream is like affected. And that's in pedals, but that's also just in like how you go about your day. That's about like everything. I mean,
well, and like that's not to say that like you shouldn't have this big massive pedal board, because like I see a lot of bands who sound good, who I really enjoy, have all these big, huge complex pedal boards, but it's like you've got to I don't know, I'm just not that like interested in having all these different crazy effects and like trying to like really tweak my setup. I just want to have a clean guitar, and then the guitar that just sounds distorted and crazy. And like shoegaze, you listen to shoegaze, like the whole thing about shoegaze is it's this big wall of sound that you achieve with like this kind of huge, pedal board that like you tweak just to the finest settings, and it's like it's cool. I like shoegaze, but you got to know what you're doing. You can't just kind of be like, oh, crank distortion, oh yeah, reverb, oh, give me chorus too. It's like you got to know exactly what you want. And like I don't know.
And so like so like Ty Segall, he uses a fuzzboard, which is what Kaysen uses on his bass. And he said that as he has gotten better at guitar, he just focuses on less and less pedals to the point where he pretty much only uses the fuzz. And he's just like, but his playing sounds so much more dynamic than like most people that I can think of. And it's like such an easy trap to fall into, especially as a beginner. You want to get like quick gains, is to rely on like hacks or gimmicks or like shortcuts. And it's like, bro, there's just no shortcutting like the work that it takes to become like a really fluent guitarist or a really like skillful player. Because like no matter how many different like drums or like pieces I put on my set, if I can't keep time, if I can't do rudiments, then it's like none of that matters.
Like I think that like the term like tone chasing is a thing, because it's like I think the guitar world and just like the music world in and of itself is super material, and like you can get caught up in like, oh dude, like I've really been wanting to get into like guitar modding, right? And I was like, I want to take this Strat and I want to put like a Telecaster lipstick pickup, and I want to put like a humbucker, and then have like a some vintage Strat like single coil or whatever. But I'm like, okay, is that gonna make me sound better? And also, is it gonna make that much is that Telecaster like single coil much different than a Stratocaster single coil? and I also already have a guitar with a humbucker, so it's like I don't really need it. And also, how often am I playing 6-string live that I like warrants a new guitar? It's just a lot of money and a lot of time on like this activity that the payoff is like not that great. Like the payoff is just that, oh, I've got a cool guitar, and that's if I do it good. I've never modded a guitar in my life, so I could just totally mess up.
Somebody said we need a slur for people who buy the most expensive gear whenever they first start a hobby. AC just kicked on. That's all right.
Oh, we're right under it.
Yeah, it's not too much of a bother. Just add some ambiance.
Yeah.
No, but also too, just on like doing the simple things right and doing the basics right. I was watching this video the other day, and it was Crystal Castles, the making of, I think it was Magic Spells, either Magic Spells or Vanished. Either way, one of their best songs. Both of those are tied for like their best songs. And I was watching it, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see like how this is broken up. Like I know there's going to be all these intricate parts put into it. And then turns out it was just it was like, okay, here's the drum beat. Okay, here's what the bass is. Okay, here's the lead. Okay, here's the vocals. And I was shocked. I was like, wait, it's just 4 parts? Like, this song sounds so, like, rich and, like, so just, like, amazing and awesome. And I was like, it's just 4 parts? But then when I started thinking about it and re-listening to it, I was like, wow, okay, it's just 4 parts, and all of those parts are just done amazingly.
Yeah.
And, like, so, like, there's another song. I think it was, you ever seen, like, The Making of Redbone or something? Or it might have been Redbone or one of those other Childish Gambino songs on that album. It was like, okay, here's The Making of Redbone. And I remember watching that, and it was, like, 27 layers of different sounds. And that's just, like, night and day difference, which, again, I think that moves back to the whole min-maxing thing. It's like you're doing the most with the least. And it's like you don't have to get overcomplicated with it. You just do the basic stuff.
Right. Well, it's like, yeah, and it's like
you just do the basic stuff well.
I think that Redbone is like a good song. Like Crystal Castles is a really good band, but it's like how much of that, how many layers of those do you really need? How many like vocal layers do you really need? How many guitars do you really need? And it's like I mean, like my whole point with like the guitar modding thing was like I could go through all this trouble and spend all this money on this guitar, and yeah, maybe it would be like fun, but like at the end of the day, why am I doing that if I don't have like a real need for it? I don't have a need for a new guitar. I don't have a need to like regularly mod guitars or like learn that or whatever. It's kind of just for fun. And it's like I could just spend that time and money like on lessons, on guitar, and get better and like have more fun playing guitar.
Yeah, because like, so we always like buy gear as like a shortcut to like, we feel like, oh, as soon as I get this piece of gear, I'm going to be so much better. It's kind of like with book people. Book people somebody said, never confuse buying a book with buying the time to read it. So like, there are so many people who, and I'm honestly, I might be a little guilty of this, buying way more books than you could ever read, and then just like letting them stack up. At a certain point, I go, okay, this has gotten to be this size.
Yeah.
I start looking at them. I'm like, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. If I was to read every book I wanted to this year, I still wouldn't get to these like 30%. So I'm just gonna give those away.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna donate those
because I'm like, and it sucks because you're like, dang, bro, I like spent all this money on these books, but I don't know. It's kind of taught me where like. I definitely buy less books now because I was the same way where it's like I would be like, okay, that's it. I need to get rid of these because like I'm not gonna have the time to read these. They're definitely like they're probably like 10th on my like want to read, like immediate like oh I want to pick it up and read it. So it's like yeah sure maybe I work through this all and finally get to it, but like let me just save space. Let me save like I don't know.
It makes me like not want to buy books for other people because I'm like I really don't want to buy a person a book because like I know what an investment that is.
Yeah.
And I know most people probably don't want to like it's just gonna sit on their shelf for the longest. And also like I kind of don't want people to buy books for me in general. Like typically I'll be like, hey, like if someone asks me like, oh what book, and I'll be like very specific. I'll be like this one. This book, or like this year, even with like how much I'll kind of stockpile and just not read, like I was like, all right, I figured out like okay, I read about 20 books in a year, like maybe give or take. And so I was like, all right, this year, if there was 20 books that I was like, bucket list, I've got to read these year. Like I want to read these ones the most. What would they be? And now I'm only allowed to buy those, like moving into 2025.
But let's
like,
talk a little bit more about the show.
Okay, yeah. So we meant to talk a lot more about the show. So, long story short, went very well. There was a huge redemption from our last show, and in fact, I've been thinking about taking off the previous show video because I'm like, oh man, there's just so many mess ups. But honestly, I've kind of thought about it. I'm like, I want to force myself to keep it up just because. Oh, hey, Dad, what's up? You want to come be on the podcast? No?
Not even talking. Not even the voice.
What are you doing? Hanging out? Come on, you know you want to be on here.
Getting words?
You know you want to be on here.
What do you think about the Gores? You ever heard of the Gores, man?
I'll let you know what to say.
He said he loves them.
Wait, are you coming to the show? Okay, sweet. Nice. Heck yeah.
Papa Gore will be there.
Yeah, we're just doing a pod. We're talking about the show right now, recapping the show. What are y'all doing? Better go get a drink. Oh, okay. Yeah, just, I mean, like a drink out of here? Hey, like, this is just like we're just going to throw it up on YouTube. It's not like any official thing. It's like, you can come walk through here. You don't want to be online? People are mean, so. It gets people in trouble with the law. I have a funny story about that, actually. At Trailer Park Outlet, there's a guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like, he would get really pissed off when you would film him because he said that one time he got put in a commercial for a company, and the police showed up to the to the office and arrested him because they had a warrant out. They were looking for him. So, you know, people not want to be online. I get it. But
yeah.
Love you, Dad.
Love you, Dad.
Okay, that's fair.
It's probably me.
That's for the best.
I'm cool.
But
no, it was a great show.
what were we saying? The show?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing about the show that made it so good was, so the biggest thing about the previous show that made it so bad, or that we thought was so bad, was we had mess ups, which it happened plenty of times. We're a terrible band, so that happens. But what sucked was like nobody was moving. There was no, there was obviously
at the last show.
Yeah, cheering, like in between songs, but there was no like nobody was up dancing. No, so it's like, and my girlfriend was like, it was kind of bad because it's like there was exactly the amount of chairs there to like so that everyone could have a seat. Like
right.
Because I think of the part of like,
if you're already
people
up,
dancing is like,
like
people are like, I'm already up. I might as well I don't want to sit there and just sit still.
Getting up from your seat is a choice.
No, yeah.
And then dancing is a choice.
So at this show there was no seats. There was a lot
no
lot
seats,
of people.
And I think our target demo was there.
Right.
Like they showed up, because like right now a lot of our friends will come watch, and they're our friends, but they're not super into like the punk music, so like they're not gonna mosh. They're kind of just like, yeah, Parks and Cason, that's awesome, we support you guys. But like our fans, or I don't want to call them fans, it sounds condescending, whatever, but like the people who like the sort of music that we make are like punk type, or like even like alternative, because even now like punk is, it's kind of a problematic term because it's a blend of like any kind of guitar music or like any kind of band music nowadays, because that is such a small like subculture now. It's like they've kind of just been like, all right, if you're indie or you're punk or you're like metal, we're all just gonna congregate, because it's like we're just happy that people are actually playing guitar music or like playing like, you know, like live music to begin with. But no, the show, like beyond just saying the show was cool over and over and over. I mean, we played clean, which
it was
we played clean. I was, man, something I try to focus on for this show. I have a friend, his name's Hunter. He gave me a really great piece of advice one time, and you know, if you're a live performer, definitely use this. He said, when in doubt, just focus on your instrument. Like he said, when he's having a show and he's either having stage fright or he's getting too distracted, he will just focus on his instrument and just sort of disappear into it. And I find that so helpful, because like I don't really get stage fright, but I definitely will sometimes get distracted. And even I think getting distracted on everything around you is one thing, but then also being distracted by your own thoughts and being distracted by your own, like, just yourself, that both of those things are sort of impediments. And so like the whole show I was just like, all right, let me focus on my breathing, and let me focus on my finger technique. Whole time I was like breathing and grip, grip. Like that was, I have my eyes closed a lot of the time, just because, which is funny, like, but it's just because like that's how I'm able to, that's just one sense that's like shut off, and I'm able to sort of just only think about the rebound. Like, I don't know, just
bro, so one thing I've kind of noticed is at that show, I don't know, I feel like every show it's gotten easier, but like our second show, like the 19th hole show, I was just about petrified on the stage when we got up there for sound check right before we started playing. I like, they were like, oh, you know, all right, do vocals, you know, mic 2, do vocals, which was me, and I was like, I don't want to, dude. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to make a noise, bro. And what's also super, like, the first noise you make is always like, you know, the first like note I hit on the guitar when I'm doing sound check or whatever. I'm always so conscious of it, bro. And what's funny too is, when we did sound check at the place, it was super. I don't want to say like, it was super relaxed. They were just like, yeah, you know, you know, do your sound check, you know, whatever, you know, it's cool. They didn't have a PA or like a sound guy or anything. They were just like, yeah, you know, kind of run your own little setup. People were helping each other. One thing that was like dope there was people were like, oh, hey, dude, can I use, you know, use your tape? Use there, you know, can I get another XLR cable, whatever? And it was like, yeah, bro, like everyone's just kind of like getting together, helping each other out. One dude had a amp that he was running his mic to that like basically everybody used. So it was like, I don't know, it's cool. It's this little community.
I'm gonna start running shows like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who like he would like before bodybuilding competitions and stuff. Everyone would be like, oh, all this camaraderie, but he would intentionally like psychologically mess with people, and he would like steal people's like they would be getting sprayed down with spray tan. Yeah. He would go and he would like steal their Speedo and like have them like have a search for it naked behind stage.
No, bro.
Arnold would like mess with everybody, because he's like, if you're psychologically messed up when you go on stage, then that's just one more edge.
Yeah.
Hey, just warning you.
We're getting cut.
Hey, don't get on a bill with us, man.
They're like, man, the Gore.
Yeah. Nah.
No, but my point was like the sound check right before it. I don't know about you, but when we started playing, I was like, oh, bro, like I'm not feeling this. Like I do not feel
really.
Good. It doesn't sound good. Like I felt like I didn't sound good. And then another thing is that like, yeah, we're pretty loud. And so,
oh yeah, everyone cleared out during the sound check. Yeah. Like everyone just, we started sound checking and everyone like moved to the back end. So I'm thinking when we start the show, like they're gonna do the same thing. And I was like, yikes, we're gonna be playing to like an open field. But that wasn't the case. Like everyone came up whenever we started playing.
But it
was cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a big thing of it is like people are, you know, before the music starts, the real like, hey, here we go, we're about to play. People don't want to hear music. Like they're sitting there having a conversation, whatever.
Yeah.
But like whenever it's like, hey, I'm about to play music, they don't care if it's. Well, maybe some people care, but like
it's all about
it's a lot
framing.
more tolerable to be like, I'm like really loud. Right.
It's all about you're right. It's all about framing because it's like if we're in their bedroom at like 3 a.m. playing that, they're not gonna want to hear that. But if it's like in the middle of a show, then all that noise is fine.
Well, because it's also like
it's all about expectation.
People just now got there, they're seeing their friends, they're like, oh, wanting to talk, they're getting a beer or whatever. So it's like we're like,
and it's not like we're like some famous band where they're like are like, dude, bro, they're sound checking, bro. We gotta hear this. No, we're just some local band. But man, like it's a lot of fun, to be honest. It's a lot of fun. And the homie Bruno, he got us some super dope footage. So for you camera nerds out there, this is what we were running. We were running a Z-Cam with a 12 millimeter wide on me and Kaysen, and then up on the stage I had a 360 cam duct tape to my microphone, and then we had a Sony A7 IV pointed at the least dense part of the crowd, so that worked out great in our favor. and then we had the obviously we had Bruno's I think it was a Blackmagic, and I even had like a police body cam that I was sort of running some behind the scenes with beforehand, but I didn't use it during the show because I want to attach it to myself or something like that. But I feel like such an idiot if I was like had this big freaking GoPro on my face
I would say
as I'm drumming.
It'd be cool if you put it right here, or even like.
Well, dude, I've tried it right there, and it just sort of like points out, and it doesn't like get, because like the cool thing about like having it here is, and then it's like looking up at the crowd, and whatever I kind of want to focus on, I can like. But with this, it's kind of just like, I don't know. I've tried it like on my shirt and stuff. It's not very good. To be honest, I kind of regret buying that thing because it's so limited use case. Like if you guys are looking to buy a body cam, just buy a GoPro instead. It's a lot better.
I don't know about you, but I'm like thinking about this 12th Street show, and I'm getting like kind of nervous just because of last time.
Bro, you can't think about it that way because like, dude, it's like, well, first of all, leading into the 12th Street show the first time, there was a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it was also like one of our first shows. That was our first show since
19th hole.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I would say even just from today's practice, I feel very sharp. Like, so okay, Lightning Bolt drummer, he said that at the end of tours, he would feel like he had what was called super chops, because it's like he's been playing these songs, and he's like sort of it's like working out. It's like you are consistently working out, and you sort of get to this like sharpened up sort of like peak, and then you're ready to like kind of, or like with boxing, like you can't do that all year round, but you get really sharp like before a match, and then you go into the match as sharp as you can possibly be. And I mean, I feel like that with this show. I mean, we've kind of almost done what I would call like a little local tour, where we're kind of like, we go and play at, these different little venues and stuff. And I mean, I even kind of wish we were supposed to go and do a garage show tonight, but the campus was empty. So we're like, maybe not the best. I think it would have still been good just to play publicly, because anytime you do that, anytime you practice anything publicly, it's just a little bit different of a vibe. And
it's like oh man, somebody could hear me right now.
Practicing isolated is one thing, because then you're just totally focused on how you sound and all this. But then practicing where people could ostensibly hear you is, there's just that other element of like being perceived.
Whenever I was I played a little gig at HEB, little barbecue restaurant, a little acoustic gig. When I was kind of practicing for that, I would just practice at home and stuff. And whenever like one time our neighbor walked into here while I was midway through practicing, like mom and dad were walking through here midway through practicing, I would always try to, not like a super long time, but I would always try to keep playing as they were like walking in, so that like I'm forcing myself to sing at this person who probably doesn't even want to be hearing me sing right now. They got something to say to me. They want me to shut up, but like forcing myself to sing in front of this person and be like, look, I'm making music, just to like get used to I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
playing in
exposure
front of
therapy.
people, yeah.
It's exposure therapy. But cool. All right. So I mean, do you have any other like thoughts on the previous show or the show that's coming up?
No, not really. No.
Well, in that case, so I wanted to ask. So this kind of still relates to the band, but also relates to something I've been kind of digging into recently. So, you went to school for marketing.
Yeah.
I went to school for film. How is what you learned in school related to sort of the things that we've been doing recently? Like because the band is sort of it's a brand in and of itself, right? Like, and I feel like we've been very like brand and design oriented going into this more than maybe your average like punks would be, but it's because we're not against having like good design or something. We don't think that that's like a crime. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to like put effort into what you're doing. But like, I guess, do you feel like anything that you learned in marketing school has translated to what we've been doing? We've been doing a lot of like boots on the ground. We've been doing a lot of just like social media posting and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely things where it's like,
So the whole reason I ask is because lately I've been doing something new, which is I'm running local ads on Instagram, and I'm targeting like this very specific area for a very specific service. And something I've found is that, as I'm talking to like all these different business owners, they're telling me sort of what they do, and I'm finding that there's a type of business that could benefit really well from like paid ads and paid marketing, and then there's other kinds of brands that it's sort of puzzling, like how you would frame it. So the band is a perfect example. So I'm like, I'll contrast it with Gore Brothers Media. So I'm like, hey, I put up an ad where I'm like, hey, I do video marketing. I can help you get more leads with my service, and follow me if you want to learn about that, or if you want to start getting more leads. And it's like, I'm thinking like with a band, what kind of paid ad could you even run? Like how do you market a band? Like, because that's the thing is about like most service-based businesses and stuff, or like product-based, is like you just run ads, and the more money you pour into ads, the more people are going to see you, and the more people are going to see your call to action. But something about throwing up a band thing on like a sponsored. Now, I suppose it could work. Like, I suppose we could do some sort of, but something about it just seems incongruent. Like, something about it seems kind of, like, I just don't know how you would frame like a band, or like how you would market a band other than straight up boots on the ground. Which is not to say we're trying to do any kind of crazy, like I don't think you or I have.
I think like the most obvious thing is like, finding your niche. Obviously that's a big thing in marketing. And I mean, it's the same with a band where it's like, there's, a million kinds of soda. There's a million kinds of rock bands, but like, what kind of soda are you? What kind of rock band are you? So it's like finding your niche. Are you, which, now it's a little bit less relevant than it was like back in the day when like there was more genre specific venues. But like, are you gonna go to like the metal bars and play there? Are you gonna go to like the more punk venues? Are you gonna go to? Are you gonna be like a cover band?
But wait. So, but that's not what I'm saying necessarily. What I'm sort of saying is like if you were to put out an ad, like what would be the call to action for that? Because for me, it's like, hey, follow me so you can see my content, so you can like figure out what I'm about, and you can sort of get informed on the service that I'm ultimately trying to sort of sell to people. So for a band, it's like, what's the call to action there? Like, pull up to our show, or like download our single, or.
I mean, yeah, which it's like, I feel like that's the only thing you could, advertise this show coming up.
But then it's like, so it's a lot of it is about like, you spend this much on ads per day, and then this number of people see it, and then like a certain percentage of those buy.
But a big thing about a band is like, it's a performance. So it's like, it's not just I don't know. It's like you've got to almost. I would think a really well shot, well produced music video would be more successful for getting people to go to a show than a ad that's like, oh hey, we're having a show at this bar. Because if I see, oh the Geeks live at 12th Street, I'm like, swipe. But if it's like a music video, I'm like, well, it's kind of cool photography. That I like the song. Then I'm like, okay, let me check these guys out. Oh, dang, they're playing a show.
See, I'll say, just based on what I have seen, like numbers-wise, and just what I've seen work, I think that, sure, you might see the Geeks sponsored on IG at 12th Street, swipe, don't care, move past it. But the truth is, like, I've just been learning, you have to be very specific about, like, what you want people to do.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just assume that they're going to figure out what it is that you're trying to, like. So, like, if you want them to subscribe, you better say, like, at the end of this, hey, make sure you subscribe. And that's another thing too, you can't throw like a bunch of call to actions in there. You can't be like, hey, subscribe and then like, and then
come to our show.
Yeah, come to our show and then download or like sign up for our newsletter. Like, you have to be like, what is the one thing in this piece of content or in this piece of like marketing that I want them to do like the most? Like, what is the one thing? Because anything more than that, and like, I don't think it's that people are stupid or anything like that. I just think it's that people have so much stuff coming at them all at once that it's just, you have to be very clear about what it is you offer and what people like should do or how people should respond. And like, so, and also too, I think part of the reason that you might have scrolled past, the Geeks at 12th Street, like part of the reason that you would scroll past it is because some stuff does come off as like very, very salesy, very much like an ad.
Yeah.
But then there's other stuff, like we're entering this weird stage in marketing right now where there's almost like this meta. There's like a new meta. It's like people will do ads on their phone, or people will do ads where it's like the first part of it is a dude flying off a dirt bike, and then the guy flips around and is like, hey, da, da, da. Like we're in this weird like anti-marketing stage, and
It's like a postmodern like.
it's like a postmodern, it's like a postmodern like sort of marketing. It's weird. But then also, this is like really freaking postmodern. So I'm sure you've seen the guy who's like, he sells cars, and his whole thing, like every single one of his hooks will be something that's like really controversial. Like,
Yeah, it'll be like a girl talking blah blah blah.
a half naked girl.
Yeah, it'll say something about, oh, you got messed up teeth, blah blah blah. Okay, guys, we got this new 2024.
Yeah. Kia Sorrento.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was watching one where it was like some girl, and he was like, or she was like talking. She's like, if you had 24 hours with me, what would we do? And he like popped in. And he's like, she only dates black dudes. Hey, we got a 2018 Kia Sorrento, and it's like, and I'm watching this, I'm just baffled, and I'm looking at his numbers, and I'm just like, bro, like, is he like, you could make the case like, oh, he's sort of shit posting, and it comes at the expense of him being like taken seriously. But then also it's kind of like, okay, but wait, I'm sitting here watching an ad, multiple ads
For this truck.
for this guy who's states away, who I will never buy from, and I'm sending it to my friends. And then, like, sure, it doesn't translate to anything for him, like, when I'm seeing it, right? But then people in his town must be like, yo, that guy who's viral online, he's literally in our town.
Yeah.
And people are like, I want to meet him.
I want to meet him. I want to go there.
And so I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, so you should just be as ridiculous as possible, or you should, throw all, like, attempts at professionalism out the window. But I am going to sit here and maybe possibly speculate on, like, okay, how professional do you need to be? Like,
well, I think that like
it's all about like attention getting. Like, because that's the thing with his stuff is he's not starting off with him. He's starting off with something that is usually it's like a half naked girl.
Yeah.
Or if it's a very controversial video.
It's like an 8-second video, and the first 2 seconds are this different video, and you get the gist of this different video within this even like shorter video. So it's like there's like multiple hooks within there.
Right. No, right. Yeah.
It's like a hook and then like a turnaround.
Yeah, it's like Anthony Jeselnik, he'll have like jokes where
some might say it's a curveball.
Anthony Jeselnik will have jokes where he's leading you someplace, and right as soon as you're like, oh, I know the punchline. Like,
yeah.
And then it's something even more sort of raunchy or whatever than like whatever you're thinking. And what do they call that? Misdirect. It's a misdirect. It's a misdirect within a misdirect, and it's like a hook within a hook. And like, I don't know, because I'm kind of watching it and I'm just like, there are aspects of it where I'm like, okay, this is very clever. But then there are also aspects of it where I'm like, there's just certain things that I'm not willing to do in order to get a couple extra clicks. Like, I don't want to put half naked girls in my like any of my marketing stuff. Like, I don't want.
It's also so risky because it's like you could do that, and the punchline could be something controversial, and people just don't find you funny or charming, and they're just like, this guy's weird. I don't like this.
And look, I'm all for taking risk. I think risk is, you have to do that. You have to sort of, because you got to like take a risk. You got to be somewhat polarizing to even have anything to say at all. But it's more so like, I'm not willing to do anything that like compromises my values or is more like shtick than it is like value. Like, I would rather just kind of grow slow and have it be like a sustained growth than to try to like cash out right away. And I mean, I'm sure that's easy to say. People might be watching this saying, yeah, it's easy for you to say because, you're not going viral right now. Like, you, of course, you can say, oh, I'm not willing to compromise on my values because like you're at, a couple dozen views or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know, like there's a lot of games to play and there's a lot of games to win. And the truth is, you can pretty much win any game you want.
Not the Raiders.
But you got to ask yourself, like, is that game worth playing? And but yeah, marketing is just headed in a weird direction. And I don't know, I've just been thinking about that lately because the local ads thing has just been, it has been surprisingly good. Like, it's been surprisingly successful. Like, the flood of people coming in and like having a positive response, and like they're all people that I'm looking to talk to, people that I'm looking to, like the exact type of person I'm trying to reach. And I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. That's another thing too, is you'll be so surprised because you'll be doing so many other things well, and you're like, why isn't this working? Why am I not getting like X result? And then there's like one little piece that you plug in, and it's like, boom, floodgates. And so it's like all about bottlenecks.
In the like same way of like the same vein of like kind of the postmodern marketing, I think that like the way we did our like band photos, our little media day and stuff, it's like I really like those photos. I really think they're great, and it's like I think it like also kind of describes our band pretty well because it's like not so much making fun of ourselves, but like they were fun. They were like, cool photos, and they looked really good. But they also just like, there were us like you were chasing after me in a field, or like we were like sitting with cows, or like doing like a weird jump or something. And it's funny because like we had said like, oh, we want to do band photos soon, and then literally probably that like same day, the day after, or whatever, I saw the post where it's like, band photos are so funny.
Yup.
Because it's like usually just 5 guys, sitting in a like looking half serious by a railroad track, and it's like, why do these gas station attendants need yearbook pictures?
Literally, bro. It's like understanding the meta of whatever you're kind of walking into is such a good way to just like have just like the littlest edge. Because like anytime our photos get thrown up on some kind of any kind of like band poster or whatever, it's always like, I'm not trying to be cocky, but they kind of stand out because like every band photo is the same.
They're not doing anything objectively wrong. It's just like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity because it's like you just got to paint with every part of the canvas. Like so many times, I feel like people get into this trap where they're like, oh well, I'm a musician. I want to play music. That's all I care about. That's the only part of the band that I care about. And I'm like, dude, you don't also like want to just like make culture. You don't want to just like, and me and Case were talking about this video we saw recently where it's talking about how the way music is kind of moving it's more so just becoming something complementary to like a greater experience. Like people don't just sit and listen to a record anymore, or they don't sit and listen to an album anymore. It's like you throw a part of a song in a TikTok, or you throw on some song onto the speaker as you're doing something else, as you're like actually living some part of your life. And so it's like, I mean, as a band, we can either lament that or we can adapt to that and say, okay, we're going to lean into this sort of vibe culture and we're going to kind of create this. Because I think people are just like.
So what is our band background noise for? If like.
Drunk driving incidents, jaywalking.
That's not funny. A Raiders player just now got arrested for DUI.
What else?
Jaywalking.
Skinning a deer.
Yeah. Using LimeWire.
Using LimeWire.
Please download all of our songs off LimeWire.
Yeah, just like that's another thing too is, bro, I really don't care about like, oh man, like how am I supposed to make any money at this music stuff? Like,
yeah,
dude, straight up, I just want to make art just to make art. So like, please go pirate all of our songs if you can. Like, go pirate them. I don't care.
Yeah,
seriously. Like, I think it would be cool if you did. To be honest, that make me feel like
I want people to have bootleg tapes. Have you seen a video? There's a video of Neil Young. He walks into a record store, and he goes to the Neil Young section, and he finds like a bootleg vinyl of his, and he's like, what is this? I didn't sign off on this. And the record store guy's like, I don't know, man. He's like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this because this isn't yours. This is mine. I'm taking this. And the guy's like, no, you're gonna wait until my manager. And he's like, no, I'm taking this, and just like walks out with it. Which it's like, yeah, that's really sticking it to the man, is berating this vinyl store owner.
Yeah, or how about
this poor vinyl store tenant? It's like just trying to do his job.
How about when Metallica did a live stream and then their own live stream got taken down for copyright infringement? Like, because Metallica just rides people so hard on using their music, and it's like,
bro, no, that's like the most metal thing ever, is like,
dude,
being like super
litigious
about your like royalties and
yeah. No, for real. Yeah, can't imagine anything more punk rock, more metal, more hardcore.
No, they're not punks, dude.
My bad, punk and metal. And that's another thing too, is like, I just have zero respect for any of these like little.
It's like we're punks. We beat up metalheads.
Yeah,
and it's like. You're LARPing.
I'm a punk. I hate metal. And it's like, bro, what is it? What is it about people where they just so badly want to be like put in this box?
Yeah.
I'm a this, and this. Like, people love to like identify themselves and be like, I'm a this thing, and this thing. And this is like, people like, why do you want to get put in a box? Why? Oh, well, I actually, I listen to punk and it's different from metal because it's dude,
bro,
like,
so like,
are there not grades in between? Like, are there not things that, like, I don't know.
Here I go with my sports analogy. But if you're like a college basketball player and you're like, oh, I'm a 3-point shooter. That's what I'm really good at. That's what I've kind of made my name on. But like, you're not greatest 3-point shooter ever. A lot of teams are just gonna go, oh, there's plenty of 3-point shooters. Like, this guy really can't do anything else. But if like you're like, I'm a 3-point shooter, but like, I'm going to figure out whatever a team needs, and I'm just going to fill that hole and just do that. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, just like the beauty of like a role player where it's like, I have this thing that I want to do or that I'm really good at, but like this is a need. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to let whoever else is like, whoever else is a better scorer or whatever, okay, they can score. Like, I'm just going to get rebounds.
Bro, I mean, believe it or not, that's like what a human should be. A human should be somebody who adapts to any sort of situation they're thrown into, not saying, no, reality needs to bend to me, and reality, like the rules of reality need to conform to like my, like, no, dude, like whatever, you just got to figure out however, like, because think about like an animal who's in like some environment and is trying to survive. Do you think it's going to sit there and go, oh, well, I didn't develop this certain thing? It's like, no, like it's just going to. It's going to figure out its niche. Bro, it's going to figure out its niche, and it's going to embody that.
So people always will ask us, like, I'll invite somebody to a show or whatever, and they'll be like, okay, well, like, what kind of music do y'all play? And I always tell them rock and roll. I'll say rock and roll. Because it's like, I could say, it's just like kind of basic alternative rock. But like, I like the idea of saying rock and roll because it's like, what I think of when I think of rock and roll is like Elvis Presley, like Chuck Berry, and it's like I'm just like, it's just basic rock and roll, because it's like I could sit there and go, well, we're kind of like, so like I take like heavy inspiration for like this band, and like we're like punk, but like we listen to like a lot of Nirvana, right? And so, but like people are gonna they're either gonna come there or they're not. They're either gonna like our music or they're not. It's like me describing my music one way. Sure, I mean, I guess that's technically marketing, but like me saying, "Oh, we're a punk band," it's like
we're a puck band.
We're a puck band. We're the Pac-Man band. But
No.
it's like saying, like if someone's like, "Oh, dude, you guys suck." Well, we're a punk band. Oh, okay, well then you guys are good. Like no. Which sometimes happens. Oh, bro, that band sucked so much. It was awesome. They're so punk.
Oh, dude. No, but like, I mean, I kind of like, I'm not going to say that I resent that question, because truth be told, I kind of love that question. I love that question.
I love that question I love to, the thing I love about that question is after our show, if someone says, oh, what kind of music do y'all like, what's y'all like sound? I always like to ask them, like, how would you describe our sound? Like, if someone was asking you what we sound like, what would you tell them?
Well, okay, and I'll get to that in a second, but like, because there's something funny about that. But so I kind of like that question. Like, I can't say that I resent that question, because I like not answering it. I like refusing to answer, refusing to give people a clear answer. Like, it's just funny. It's just
because
funny.
I think our sound is like pretty unique to where it's like, if I sat there and told you like, oh, it's a bass and drum and it's like super in your face, super loud, super fast, blah blah blah, like I gave away like the selling points of our band. I feel like that takes away from the experience of like hearing it for the first time.
Look, I'm not even gonna sit here and say that I think our sound is super unique or anything like that. I think we like what we like, and we have a wide array of influences. And a person like, I think most of the time people have said, oh, you guys are like a stoner punk sort of band, and I'm like, sure, like, I guess that's fine.
No, we're not punk, dude.
I mean, like, anytime, like, I've always thought like garage, but then also the term garage, literally all that means is just like poorly produced.
Yeah.
So
garage like is just, it's like alternative.
But also, like, I'll say this: if you're trying to make anything that's sort of like garagey, dude, just get a Zoom H6 and literally just crank it up where it's just barely peaking, and just use the left and right channels. You'll be so surprised at how good that sounds. We have used this freaking Zoom for everything, and it captures sound very well, and it takes a beating. It's like a $300 little Zoom,
Bro,
and we've had it for a minute. It takes a beating.
The SD card is held on by a piece of duct tape.
A piece of duct tape. Which, by the way, like, also if you're shooting or doing any kind of like anything, man, duct tape is so invaluable. Like, I told Maddie, I was like, if you're ever at a loss for what to give me, just give me more duct tape.
Yeah.
Because it's so good for anything. It's good for gaffing, or is that what it's called? Gaffing?
Yeah.
It's good for gaffing. It's good for like repairing. It's good for, I had to like fix up that 360 cam to the thing, and people will go, like, pretentious sort of film people or whatever will be like, that's a little bit janky, or that's a little bit tacky, and I'm like, bro, it's about functionality. Like, stop being a nerd.
Get the shot, bro.
Yeah, just get the shot. Just get the job done. Like, come on, y'all are so like. This will be my final exhortation to you guys: is stop being so obsessed with how you look while you do something, and just start being obsessed with like the quality of the stuff that you're doing, and then it'll be kind of hard to fail. What's up, Dad?
Father has returned.
The father has returned.
Faza.
The return of the Gore father.
Faza.
Come say hi in our podcast, or at least make your appearance.
Hi.
Heck yeah. All right. I think we're at an hour. Yeah. All right. We'll end it here. Thanks, guys.